Hi everyone, Matt Yakovit, head of open source strategy at Scarf, with the 4 different ways that open source businesses make money. Now, first I want to say open source by itself is not a business model. You can't just slap open source on something, release the code, and assume that money will rain from heaven. You actually need to think through what your strategy is and how you are going to engage with users and how you're going to provide them with value, because that is critically important. So how do you go about potentially making a commercial offering around your open source software or accepting some sort of like monetary gain from it? Well, the first way is not really a model. It is your classic donate button. It is the busking for dollars, the panhandling for dollars. It is the sponsor my project. While there are many foundations and not-for-profits that do exist in the open source space who have made a successful go at helping to build sustainable models, most open source projects who go the donate route are woefully underfunded. And so this means that really the effectiveness of trying to ask for donations is generally very limited, and it's not really a business model that's sustainable in the long run for many companies. If you can build a foundation of like-minded or similar open source projects, then that is something that could be effective in the long term, but it takes a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of effort to get where you need to be. So that's not really a model, but it is one of the 4 ways that people do try to make money off of open source. Probably the one that's easiest to get started with is services. If you have an open source project and you are trying to make a go of it, offering consulting or support services for your open source project is a good first step. That doesn't necessarily mean people will buy them. Okay, you need to generate demand and awareness for them. But offering support, consulting, managed service, or non-reoccurring engineering, where people will pay you for features, is a viable method. Long term, there is limited revenue and upside to this, and the margins are relatively low, but services is a classic model, and it has proven to work in many instances. Now, the granddaddy of most successful open source offerings is the open core model. This is where you have a free version of your open source software and an enterprise version, and it's a dual license model. The enterprise version will have key features that you put out there that are only available in a paid for version. So you have 2 licenses, free and open source, and the other one is commercial. This is something that MySQL did long ago. For instance, they had a MySQL enterprise version and a MySQL community version, and you would pay for the enterprise features. Many of those enterprise features are things that enterprises or larger companies would use, but won't necessarily impact the community. So that is a viable model. Now, where the industry's kind of going right now is the subscription model, though. So the cloud, the everything as a service model. So whether you're a database vendor doing database as a server, a platform vendor doing a PaaS, infrastructure as a service, all of these as a service. The idea is you build a subscription around your software. People pay you to run your software, and every month you will get a reoccurring revenue stream. And as they use more, that revenue stream increases. Classic cloud model. Now, this doesn't work for everybody. Not every piece of open source software fits into the as a service. Be mindful of that. Now, which one is best? It really, really depends. There is no one good answer. There really isn't. No, there is no one good answer here. Okay. There are many models that can work for many different types of companies, and there are some models that just don't work for any. And so be mindful, this is something that is a nuance. If you want more information, check out opensourcemetrics.org or check out the Hacking Open Source Business podcast. Both have awesome information on how to build and operate an open source business.